There's a whole lot of nonsense going on in the world right now, especially as Election Day creeps closer and closer, but we're going to hold off on more election news for just a second, because something pretty unbelievable happened on the highways of Illinois this week. A prank that utilized the face and what seemed to be the explicit endorsement of the biggest YouTuber on the planet, Mr. Beast. And that was in order to get the message to spread much farther than it would have otherwise. Now, to be extremely clear right up front, the actual Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, was in no way involved with the deployment of these digital billboard advertisements, and a spokesperson for Mr. Beast immediately reached out to any press they could get their hands on in order to reject the association.
I don't know, this seems like something he would do. He likes to think big like that.
And he loves to spend his money on very creative marketing ploys, so, anything's possible. But no, they explicitly said that they had nothing to do with this. Obviously.
And yeah, it should be pretty obvious, but that's really what made these billboards go hyper viral.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have done it without the $1 million mug of Jimmy Donaldson up there making his attempt at what a smile looks like, but
or like the words paid for by Mr. Beast LLC, which I'm not sure if that's his actual LLC or not, but got the point across.
But yeah, so this was the juxtaposition of his classic dead behind the eyes facial expression attached to a very bright and vivid digital billboard that featured the Palestinian flag and several phrases protesting Israel in some not so subtle language. There seemed to be a few versions of the graphics that flashed across multiple billboards outside of Chicago, some featuring his face, some without, but it seemed like all of them included text which claimed that the digital ad campaign was, quote, paid for by Mr. Beast LLC. And to be clear, I mean, we do have to walk on eggshells a little bit here and censor ourselves because we do have to operate within the confines of the platform in which we exist, but the sign said blank Israel and blank to Israel, paid for by Mr. Beast LLC. You fill in the blanks.
These were obviously intended to be antagonistic, and you can argue that they're not explicitly a textbook definition of anti-Semitism because their slogans targeting a country as a whole, or more specifically the government and military of that country, which is currently engaged in what can only be described as a genocide. But they are still very shocking statements, especially for motorists to see, especially with Mr. Beast's face attached to them.
I think it's exciting. I fucking hate driving. It's boring. And it's nice to get a little surprise sometimes. I wish we had these billboards here in LA.
A lot of the digital billboards for a while were banned in LA because
They're too fucking bright.
They were distracting to drivers. And there was one, it was called like The Reef. And it was a building downtown where every side was 30 feet tall, and the size of a building around was a giant digital billboard that you could see from 30 miles away.
Yeah.
Poisoning the night sky. So maybe the real thing here is getting rid of all digital billboards.
Yeah, they're probably bad.
I mean, you can hack a physical billboard by drawing graffiti on it.
Yeah, back
but
in my day, you had to get out the wheat paste and call up two of your friends and get up a big old ladder, and you had to put in a couple hours work.
Yep. Now you
These days it's too easy.
Beep, bop, boop, right into the computer. But as we said, clearly Mr. Beast was not involved in the creation or deployment of these messages, despite the implication that he was. But as a way to make this hacked billboard protest go viral, it worked. Having his face next to that slogan on a giant billboard is literally inconceivable, and it's clear why he in particular was targeted. He's the most instantly recognizable face from current internet culture outside of maybe the Hawk Tuah girl. And he spent years attempting to craft a very wholesome image for himself as a charitable guy who also happens to sometimes convince people to do outlandish things for large sums of money.
So that image has been tarnished recently with multiple internal scandals, as well as a class action lawsuit related to his foray into traditional media alongside Amazon Studios, as well as a partnership with Logan Paul and KSI for a launch of prepackaged snack food for children.
It's not a great PR year for old Mr. Beast.
Yeah, so it seems like he's on everyone's radar, including the group that hacked these billboards. And it seems like they thought, correctly, that it would be an easy way to get more coverage for their hack outside of just the message that they wanted to display. Also, it's just very funny. It's one of my favorite meme formats is...
just putting Mr. Beast on otherwise
taking
reprehensible things.
Taking one of his thumbnail faces and making like a fake thumbnail, or just making him say things that he didn't actually say. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a good format. Anyways, with more on this, here's local Illinois outlet Fox 32. Multiple electronic billboards in a Chicago suburb were hacked, displaying hateful messages about Israel that many described as anti-Semitic on Wednesday. The billboards are located off the Eden Spur Toll Road in Northbrook, just west of Waukegan Road. One of the billboards read, "Blank Israel," while another displayed the message, "Blank to Israel." In both, a Palestinian flag was used as the background. Commuters leaving work and even students after school were met with the shocking messages, which were first reported around 5:30 p.m.
And that's another thing to add on to this is the children in the cars or buses pointing out and going, "Oh, there's Mr. Beast."
That makes it funnier.
Mr. Beast said that? Wow.
Mommy, what's Israel?
Well, it has to have something to do with Mr. Beast, because I'm a child and that's the only frame of reference I have for what I'm seeing.
Mr. Beast bought all the settlements in the West Bank and he gave them out to all the Palestinian families who were dispossessed in 1948. What a cool guy.
So it continues, the two signs displaying the hateful messages illuminated the expressway for at least an hour on Wednesday evening. By 7 p.m., the digital signs were completely dark, having been shut off by Outfront Media. Northbrook police launched an investigation and quickly determined the messages were not authorized by Outfront Media, indicating that they were the work of hackers.
No, actually, we did do it.
So that was one of the early theories, which turned out to not be true, at least based on this reporting, was that they just have no oversight into what's being put up on their billboards.
No, that's...
And people are just, oh yeah, I submitted my the cost to put on the billboard.
Something like this would have happened before if that was the case.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it has happened before. Someone played, I mean, it was all the result of hacking, not actually buying it, but someone put porn on a billboard in Michigan at one point, and so Outfront Media shared a statement with Fox 32 Chicago saying they were aware of the incident. "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We are aware of this incident. The copy has been removed and the situation is being investigated." The hacked billboards also read, "Paid for by Mr. Beast LLC." A spokesperson for Mr. Beast, who is a popular YouTuber, shared the following statement with Fox 32 Chicago on Wednesday night. "Mr. Beast did not pay for this billboard, and after being made aware of its existence, we contacted our attorneys and the authorities about how to have it immediately removed." Northbrook police said no further information was immediately available and the investigation is ongoing.
It would be funny if, like, Mr. Beast, he's like, oh God, even more bad PR, I don't need this. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually buy a bunch of billboards that say, "I'm Mr. Beast and Israel's pretty cool." Wait, why are you booing me again?
Yeah.
What? What do you people want?
It's like I can't do anything right. There were also claims online that digital billboards in other cities were included in the hack, but we haven't seen local news outlets or representatives commenting on those yet. There were a few people claiming that billboards in New York City's Times Square were taken over, but those look photoshopped, and
not
I
real.
feel like there'd be a lot more photographic proof.
This didn't happen.
Although it is Comic-Con there right now, so, lots of eyeballs on old Times Square from people who typically aren't there.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking like that didn't happen.
But in other news that you have to see to believe, a substitute teacher in Minnesota has been banned from campus for inexplicably performing a reenactment of the George Floyd killing with students from the class he was teaching. And yeah, there's photos of the incident that have made their way online, one of which literally shows the teacher leaning with his knee directly into the upper back of a student while that student was laying on the ground. This is pretty high up there on the list of what the fuck are you doing things that we've seen in schools over the years, right alongside these shockingly frequent stories about slave auction reenactments in schools across America every year.
Yeah.
Sometimes in Black History Month, sometimes just in any month.
Yeah.
But it's all either intentionally racist or monumental in the lack of common sense. The teacher in this story seems like he might fall into the first category, as well as being a total piece of shit based on the reporting we've seen alongside statements from the students. Also, as the cherry on top, apparently this substitute is or was a police officer himself. Okay, yeah, the picture is becoming a lot clearer.
Yeah.
And again, substitute?
Yeah.
I got one day with these kids, and I'm gonna make them remember that day.
Unless the teacher was out for something far more serious, then it's multiple days.
This
But that's very, at least in my experience, that was very rare. I think it only happened when one of my teachers gave birth. When we had a multiple day or week substitute.
This just seems, I mean, all else aside, this is a bit high effort for a sub. You're supposed to show up, you're supposed to roll the TV out, and collect that paycheck.
This guy decided to do the other thing.
I remember I had a few high effort subs in elementary school where they'd come in with their whole their own whole like system of like rewards and punishments. I'm like, you're not gonna be here tomorrow. Why are you making me learn all this fucking shit? Mm-hmm. Put your stickers away.
Yeah.
Bring in the TV.
This guy decided to do not only the opposite of that, but something extremely deranged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the Associated Press with more.
A Minnesota school district has banned a police officer from working as a substitute teacher after a series of racially harmful actions that officials say included putting a student on the ground for a reenactment of the 2020 murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis officer. The staffing agency that placed him at Woodbury High School said Wednesday that he also no longer works for them, while the Prescott, Wisconsin Police Department put him on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. So apparently he was a police officer in a different state.
So
It came to Minnesota to teach.
Yeah, how do you have the time? I don't understand. How are you working full time as a cop and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go do a substitute teaching session for like dog shit money in another state? I don't understand.
He might not. We'll get to it, but yeah, he was only with the department for 2 years, so he might not be like a actual full time on the beat.
They weren't giving me the hours.
Yeah, so there you go. It could be anything. So the man was serving as a substitute English teacher on Monday.
English?
It's always something like that, too.
What the fuck does this have to do with English?
The man was serving as a substitute English teacher on Monday when he told students in 4 separate 10th and 12th grade classes that they might want to hear about his life as a police officer.
Okay.
School officials said in a letter to students, families, and staff. Besides the reenactment of the actions that led to the death of George Floyd, students also complained that the substitute teacher repeatedly made racially harmful comments, told sexist jokes, spoke in disturbing detail about dead bodies he had seen, said cops would be the best criminals because they know how to get away with stuff, and stated that police brutality isn't real, according to the letter.
Wow, those last two are definitely can coexist within the same brain, apparently.
Yeah.
This is, what? I have so many questions.
There are not many of them
I
are
don't
going to get answered.
yeah.
So this is just clearly a deranged person. Like someone living in their own
good
reality.
thing we gave this man a gun and a license to kill.
And a license to teach.
Yeah. This is what conservatives want too. They're like, well, I mean,
gun-toting teachers.
Yeah.
What better gun-toting teacher than an actual cop?
yeah, I mean, obviously teaching is anyone can do it. It's easy. You're basically babysitting. So all these twee little liberals with liberal arts degrees that need not apply. They try to shoot a gun and they'll break a nail. We need cops. We need cops in the classroom to not just teach the kids English, because they already speak English. They need to learn the real lessons.
Like what a dead body smells like.
Yeah.
Whew.
So just to add to the Associated Press article, a local outlet had more information regarding the claims within the letter. So here are the accusations in full, according to a local Woodbury reporter. According to the school's statement, the substitute also twisted a student's arm behind the student's back and showed pressure points on the chin, fake punched a student with his fist really close to the student's face, mimicked holding up a gun and pointing it at students, repeatedly made racially harmful comments and told sexist jokes, spoke in disturbing detail about dead bodies he had seen, and shared explicit details about 2 sexual assault cases he investigated, stated cops would be the best criminals because they know how to get away with stuff, adding that he once received an A grade on a paper about how to get away with murder. What the fuck? Stated police brutality isn't real.
This cop sounds like a criminal.
Yeah. Well, good thing he's just one bad apple. And not representative.
And none of them spoil, as we all knew, no, one bad apple does not spoil the bunch.
That's
how
the
saying
cool thing
goes.
about bad apples is you can fill your fridge up with perfectly good apples and put one bad apple in there and come back a week later.
Nothing's changed.
And yeah.
They've actually pushed the bad apple off the fridge shelf.
That's right.
Yeah, and gotten rid of it.
The good apples have come together to make sure that bad apple stays out of that community.
Insane. He got an A grade for how to get away with murder.
What class was that?
I don't know. Just
English?
apparently down at the police academy, I guess.
Yeah, we like to have fun here.
So back to the AP with details on the rest, including info about the officer in question. The letter was signed by the principal of Woodbury High School and the superintendent and assistant superintendent of the South Washington County School District. It said the man is now prohibited from setting foot on district property. The city of Prescott, Wisconsin, later Wednesday identified him as Patrol Officer Steve Williams, a 2-year veteran of the department.
2 years. Oh, yeah. My life as a cop. 2 years.
Apparently he's busy. He's been very busy in those 2 years. He was off duty and not serving in an official capacity, the city said in a statement. Quote, "The city of Prescott and the Prescott Police Department find the current allegations, if true, made against Mr. Williams to be very disturbing, reprehensible, and we in no way condone his actions," the statement said.
We will keep paying him, though, for a while.
Until everyone forgets, and then he's going to be back on the force.
And then we'll give him his job back.
Yes, in addition to...
Because, like, we don't like this, but we don't like that you're talking about it. That's mostly what we don't like about it.
So, yeah, absolutely insane behavior, though we're sure that all the parents were very relieved to know that this wasn't something much worse, like a drag queen reading a book or students trying to operate a LGBTQ-friendly club on campus.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
And also, listen, this guy being a fucking weirdo, creep, racist, that's obviously, you don't like that, it's not ideal, but what if a kid showed up with a gun? He would have stopped him.
Yeah.
Because he's a good guy with a gun. Well, he's not a good guy, but he has a gun too. So.
Yes. And more guns equals more safe.
That's right. But speaking of racist assholes, Donald Trump is in the news because obviously he is.
He's always in the news.
The election is right around the corner. Both candidates are putting themselves out there as much as humanly possible, except, whoopsie, so Donald Trump has actually started backing out of pre-booked appearances on major networks in the coming days. He's slowing down. Surely a sign of confidence and not an action taken by his handlers in order to stop him from continuing to embarrass himself.
Yeah.
According to CNN's Brian Stelter, as well as previously confirmed cancellations, Trump has now backed out of 3 major appearances on national networks just about 2 weeks away from Election Day. According to his reporting, via the Reliable Sources newsletter, Trump recently backed out of an interview with CBS's 60 Minutes and canceled a planned visit to CNBC's Squawk Box. And he adds this.
"Overnight, I learned of another planned Trump interview that was suddenly scrapped. NBC News thought it had secured a sit-down with Trump to discuss the economy and other matters, according to 3 sources with knowledge of the matter. The interview is expected to take place in Philadelphia on Monday, and correspondent Christine Romans, a CNN alum, was set to be the interviewer, I'm told. But then it was called off by the Trump team. The interview was postponed," one of the sources said, "and NBC is in discussions to reschedule it." And reporting from the Daily Beast adds that Trump also backed out of an appearance with an organization that he's typically very friendly with. Another cancellation occurred on Thursday. The NRA announced that Trump had backed out of its planned event next week in Savannah, citing a campaign scheduling conflict.
Yeah, getting on camera and like answering questions, really not, it's, the risks really outweigh the rewards. That town hall he did the other night where the Univision one, where a dude was just like, hey, just like be straight with me, like about the January 6th stuff, like that I saw that and I was like, that guy shouldn't be president. So what do you say about that? And then his answer was just like not reassuring at all.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, if you've been following the news or watching our show, you're probably aware of why Trump or his handlers might want to take him out of the spotlight for a little while. His recent appearances have been absolutely bizarre, incoherent, and destructive to his campaign. He spent 39 minutes bobbing around on stage to music earlier in the week, and then appeared at the Chicago Economic Forum where he completely botched every response to questions posed by the moderator, sometimes not even referencing the question that was posed to him at all. Like in this next clip where the moderator asked him about whether or not he would break up Google. Here you go.
Should Google be broken up?
I just haven't gotten over something the Justice Department did yesterday, where Virginia cleaned up its voter rolls and got rid of thousands and thousands of bad votes, and the Justice Department sued them that they should be allowed to put those bad votes and illegal votes back in and let the people vote. So I haven't gotten over that. A lot of people have seen that. They can't even believe it.
The question is about Google, President Trump.
Then there was his performance on stage at a recent town hall for Univision, as Elliot referenced, where he not only failed to answer multiple questions in anything resembling a straightforward manner, some of his responses were completely tone deaf, like when someone asked him to explain his gun control policy to the parents of victims of school shootings, and he replied that you can't take the guns away because of things like security, sport, and entertainment. While that one was probably shocking for anyone who has been the victim of gun violence or knows someone who has been, the response that he got from some undecided voters while he was talking really just says it all. In the next clip, a voter asked him about his inaction on January 6th and during COVID, and asks why so many people in his previous administration no longer support him. All legitimate questions.
Really basic stuff.
And just check out the visual reactions as he weaves his way through yet another sprawling answer full of twists and turns.
I'm curious how people so close to you and your administration no longer want to support you, so why would I want to support you?
So the people that don't support a very small portion, we have a tremendous, about 97% of the people in the administration support me. But because it's me, somebody doesn't support, they get a little publicity. Very importantly, you had hundreds of thousands of people come to Washington. They didn't come because of me. They came because of the election. They thought the election was a rigged election, and that's why they came. Some of those people went down to the Capitol. I said, peacefully and patriotically, nothing done wrong at all, nothing done wrong. And action was taken, strong action. Ashley Babbitt was killed. Nobody was killed. There were no guns down there. We didn't have guns. The others had guns, but we didn't have guns. And when I say we, these are people that walked down. This was a tiny percentage of the overall, which nobody sees and nobody shows. But that was a day of love from the standpoint of the millions. It's like hundreds of thousands. It could have been the largest group I've ever spoken before.
Yeah, that's the whole room was just like, are you sure about that?
People physically reacted.
Yeah.
The guy who asked the question and the audience just...
Yeah, and the guy asking the question could not have been more deferential and cool about it. Mm-hmm. Really not coming at Trump with a gotcha here. Asking a question that he should be asked about a lot more often.
Yeah, why does everyone from your previous administration hate you?
Yeah, and he straight up lied in that answer. It's like
oh yeah, there's multiple false statements.
The number of cabinet members who've now said he should never be president again is the majority of them who've said anything on the topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, also if those clips didn't play, it's probably because they were hit with copyright despite being newsworthy. Clips from sources we don't usually display are always a gamble, so we apologize if they were removed. But links are always down in the description below.
Yep.
Usually those networks just hijack the ad revenue, which is fine, because this episode's sponsored.
Hey!
Which means we'll get to the second half of the show in just a second. But let's take a moment to thank Factor for sponsoring our show. Sweater weather pairs perfectly with savory fall foods. Mm-mm. But with your busy schedule, sometimes it's hard to eat the way you'd like to. That's where Factor comes in. Their chefs do the shopping and the chopping to bring you fresh, never frozen, fully cooked meals right to your doorstep. All you have to do is heat and eat. All of their meals are dietitian approved, so you know you're getting the nutrition you need along with the fall flavors you crave.
When it comes to meals, everyone wants the same thing: options. That's why Factor offers 35 wholesome meals every week, including Gourmet Plus, Keto, Calorie Smart, and Vegan and Veggie. So you'll always find something that you love that suits your lifestyle. There's more to Factor than just lunches and dinners. From easy breakfasts and smoothies to delectable midnight snacks, Factor has over 60 plus add-ons to keep you fueled and focused 24/7. With a plethora of flavors, you'll never get bored. This fall, you've got a lot going on outside of the kitchen, so keep your plans and turn to Factor. They deliver fresh, nutritious, chef-prepared meals ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Whether you're managing calories, maximizing your protein intake, or simply trying to eat more balanced, Factor has dietitian-approved meals that will help you meet those fitness goals.
The coffee protein shake is the best protein I've ever had. The shakes are all good. Mm-hmm. Choose from 6 meal preferences, including keto, Calorie Smart, and Vegan and Veggie, and round out your order with nutrient-rich smoothies, snacks, and energy shots to keep you satisfied all day long. You work hard, so treat your body right with Factor. Their fresh, never-frozen, chef-crafted meals make it easy to get the nutrition you need with a restaurant-like experience you deserve. Head to factormeals.com/newsdump50 and use code newsdump50 to get 50% off your first month and 20% off your next month. That's code newsdump50 at factormeals.com/newsdump50 to get 50% off your first month plus 20% off the next.
All right, back to the news now, and we're not exactly done with Trump just yet, because earlier this week I saw the author of an article talk about the reasoning behind something that he recently posted. So in an article by Philip Bump from the Washington Post, he simply took Donald Trump at his word. Literally, he simply typed out the exact response that Trump recently gave to a legitimate question from a voter who was concerned about the price of groceries. I read the article, which included the transcript of Trump's statement, and it reminded me that we're all used to hearing from Trump in his voice, or the mocking version of his voice, and how because he's so well known and permeates so many aspects of our lives, a lot of the time our brains can sort of connect all the dots and just kind of fill in the gaps of what he's attempting to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's still batshit insane, but you hear him ramble on about something and it's easy to zone out and go, okay, he's talking about inflation, or he's being tough, or he's talking about the rigged election, or whatever. But when you see it in plain text, or hear it read with zero inflection or attempts at impersonation, you can really begin to understand just how mentally unfit he really is at this exact moment. And to be clear, he's always, going back to 2016, had these like run-on sentences.
But it's gotten demonstrably worse.
Yeah, it's definitely...
It's nonsense now.
You can track the degradation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to do that. We're just going to read it straight. We're going to read the transcript posted by the Washington Post where Trump answers a question about groceries from a black voter. The question that she asked on stage was, like my fellow Americans, my grocery bill has not gone down. Everything is still so very expensive. What steps will your administration take to help American families suffering from this inflation? And here's how Trump answered that question.
So, it's such a great question in the sense that people don't think of grocery. It sounds like not such an important word when you talk about homes and everything else, right? But more people tell me about grocery bills, where the price of bacon, the price of lettuce, the price of tomatoes, they tell me. And we're going to do a lot of things. Our farmers aren't being treated properly. And we had a deal with China, and it was a great deal. I never mentioned it because once COVID came in, I said that was a bridge too far because I had a great relationship with President Xi. And he's a fierce man, and he's a man that likes China, and I understand that. But we had a deal, and he was perfect on that deal. $50 billion he was going to buy. We were doing numbers like you wouldn't believe, for the farmer. But the farmers are very badly hurt. The farmers in this country, we're going to get them straightened out. We're going to get your prices down. But you asked another question about safety, and also about black population jobs and Hispanic population in particular, those two. So when millions of people pour into our country, they're having a devastating effect on black families and Hispanic families more than any others. I think it's going to spread to a lot of other places. I think it's going to spread to unions. I think unions are going to have a big problem because, employers are just not going to pay the price. They're going to, and it's a very bad thing that's happening. So they're coming in, many are coming in from jails and prisons and mental institutions, insane asylums. That's like, step above, right? Insane asylum. And whenever I go, Hannibal Lecter, you know what I'm talking about. They always go, the fake news. That's a lot of fake news back there too. They always mention, it's a way of demeaning. They say, Hannibal Lecter, why would he mention? Well, you know why, because he was a sick puppy. And we have sick puppies coming into our country. I figured that's a lot. That's better than wasting a lot of words. You just say, Hannibal Lecter, we don't want him. But they always sort of say, why would he say that? I do it for a lot of reasons, but I do it because we are allowing some very bad people into our country, and they're coming in as terrorists.
You know what this reminds me of is like pre-chat GPT, like GPT 1 and 2, when we used to play with it and try to get it to answer questions or do things, and it would always do a really bad job of it and just sort of veer off into unrelated directions. Again, that was a question about groceries.
Yeah, and Elliot is going to take over now because it is not done. This is the question about groceries, and it is not finished.
Oh, okay, maybe he'll get to the groceries
and
part.
He is, once again, you're not going to do the voice, even though I know it is going to be challenging.
Can I do the cadence?
No.
Okay.
You have to do it straight because that shows how demented this is.
Yeah, it's hard. I'll do it, though. So here's Trump once again, in his own words, still answering the question about that lady's grocery bills. You saw the other day, last month, they had the record number of terrorists. I had a month, and I love Border Patrol. Did you see they gave me a full endorsement 2 days ago? Border Patrol. The Border Patrol. And they're great. And, they want to do their job. They don't want to let these people come in. They look at them. They can tell. They can look at somebody, say, good, bad. They say what's coming into our country now, it's having a huge negative impact on black families and on Hispanic families and ultimately on everybody. And we're going to close that border so tight. It's going to be closed. And I said the two things I'm going to do. First, we're going to close that border. And people are going to come in. You want people to come in. We need people to come in. People are going to come into our country legally. It's so unfair. You have people that are waiting on a system in a line, and they've been waiting in this line. You know how long? For years, 10 years, 12 years, and they study and they take tests, and then people come. I actually say, why don't you just go and just come on across? I tell people that it's terrible, right? I said, go out, you're incredible. They say, what can I do to speed up the process? I say, you know what? Go to the southern border. I'll see you on the other side. It's so unfair. But we're going to have them come in legally. You have to see what they have to do. They take tests on, who was the first one here? What date was this? What does 1776 mean? All this stuff. And these other people are coming in and they're affecting the school systems and they're affecting the hospital system. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in Springfield, Ohio, a town of 50,000 people, they've just added 32,000 people, illegal immigrants. And we're not going to put up with that. And we're going to take care of your costs are going to come down. And you're not going to have a problem with, because the biggest problem, and I'm hearing it from black people and to a lesser extent right now, but it'll be the same, Hispanic people. And I'll tell you what, our poll numbers have gone through the roof with black and Hispanic, have gone through the roof. And I like that. I like that. I like that. So we're going to take care of it. You will be, I'll tell you, if everything works out, if everybody gets out and votes on January 5th or before, you know, it used to be you'd have a date. Today you can vote 2 months before, probably 3 months after. They don't know what the hell they're doing. But we're going to straighten it all out. We're going to straighten that out. We're going to straighten our election process out too. That's going to be important also. So thank you very much, darling. We're going to get it straight. Thank you. That's Trump addressing inflation.
Folks,
Specifically groceries.
There you go,
So
folks.
you asked, he gave a long,
very detailed answer.
and you have your answer. That's what he's going to do about groceries.
Uh-huh.
Wow. So yeah, we'll leave a link to that article below because it also includes multiple footnotes, including fact checks of everything that he drooled into the microphone on stage that night before dancing around for 40 minutes. Because yeah, a lot of what we just read was not true, just straight up lies.
Yeah, of course. So they have multiple footnotes that show the sources and articles related to the lies that he said, which is great reporting. But
And again,
also,
I want to bring it back because like what I said about how he's always rambled. I mean, back in 2016,
he did this story about his.
the nuclear.
Yeah.
But people would analyze that and they're like, actually, you know, this is a run-on sentence, but it is pretty grammatically like consistent and like you can map it out.
Yeah.
There is a coherence here. He's basically footnoting himself as he goes along, but there is a coherent thought being said. And you absolutely cannot say that about what we just read.
No, that was.
That's poop coming out of his brain.
It's crazy that whoever is behind the scenes has given him a term for his meandering thoughts, which is the weave, because he's been referencing the weave ever since someone gave him that term to talk about.
I call it the weave.
And sure, he was weaving there, in and out of coherent thought.
Well, I'm not wearing what he's weaving.
Well, the problem is he's taking all of his talking points, a traditional stump speech, and compressing it down into one answer for every question, regardless of the context of that question.
Yeah,
it all travels through the same stump speech.
He can't go into detail on any questions without really coming off as super fashy.
Or getting all details wrong.
Yeah, or just he doesn't have the details. He has, concepts of a plan. But I mean, at least before he could say, well, we're going to build the wall.
People be like, woo, woo.
Yeah, which is like, it's stupid, but it's a simple answer. If you ask him to be specific about the migrant problem this time around,
we're going to round them up and get rid of them.
They're like, oh, wait, that's fucking horrifying. Can we not do that?
We should probably pull Donald Trump from any TV appearances, which is makes sense with the previous story we talked about. But anyways, it's time to talk about another favorite dipshit of ours, Elon Musk.
Damn it. We got through an entire Tech News Day without, I think we mentioned him once in passing.
Yeah, well, if you're still somehow on Twitter, things just got a whole lot worse for a whole bunch of people because Musk has officially initiated the change to the block button, which should put him in the crosshairs of app stores, specifically app stores that he needs in order to keep this platform operational.
Yeah, he is in blatant violation of a basic rule of apps.
But who knows? Some people, like Trump and like Musk, they seem to be able to do whatever they want. Now, this is, of course, uncharted territory, so let's see how they react. Either way, the block button, it's not really going to act like a block button anymore, and people who you may have previously blocked, they'll be able to see all of your tweets.
Cool.
Here's Mashable with more on how this works. Elon Musk's X is moving forward with his proposed change to blocking users, a shift that allows blocked accounts to see a user's public profile and posts, but prevents them from interacting with the content. They add the tweet sent from the official X engineering staff, which reads, "Soon we'll be launching a change to how the block function works. If your posts are set to public, accounts you have blocked will be able to view them, but they will not be able to engage, like reply, repost, etc." So basically what it means is like, unless you make your profile completely private, all of your posts will be able to be seen by anyone who wants to see them.
Great. You asked for it, you got it.
Who asked for this? A bunch of people who probably got blocked for good reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As for why this is bad, beyond the obvious reasons, the article continues, adding, users pointed out that the block button is often the first recourse in situations of mass doxing or online verbal abuse, like death threats spurred by a viral post or controversy. Most noted that the new blocking tool makes being online even more difficult for those choosing to keep public accounts, often for professional reasons, essentially forcing users to switch to private profiles if they don't want previously blocked accounts to view their musings and photos. It's essential for many in setting online boundaries. It also means less protections for communities and identities already at risk for harassment. X's altered blocking features could have even greater repercussions on young users too, who already face higher risks of abuse on these platforms amid a national mental health crisis. A report by Thorn, a tech nonprofit combating child sexual abuse, found that teens rely heavily on online safety tools to defend themselves in digital spaces and are most likely to use blocking and leverage it as a tool for cutting off contact in an attempt to stop future harassment, according to the organization.
And outside of the block function becoming essentially useless, Twitter/X has also updated their TOS to more explicitly state that everything that you post can and will be used to train their artificial intelligence, adding that by using the platform, you grant a license that includes the right for us to analyze text and other information you provide and to otherwise provide, promote, and improve the services, including, for example, for use with and training of our machine learning and artificial intelligence models, whether generative or another type.
But it's cool. You can stop that by sharing a picture, an image of text that says, "Dear Mr. Musk, I do not consent."
I do not. That one went around again recently. I forget what it was about. It was on Instagram. But yeah,
I think it was about training AI.
Yeah, it was another rehash of the same email chain.
This is like, wow, this has been going for 20 years now.
And people fall for it every time. It's like 1 year goes by and they forget that they've already posted this pointless.
Well, if you ask them, they'd be like, look, better safe than sorry.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
Can't hurt, can it?
Well.
Anyway, in news that isn't as shocking as it is infuriating, the Texas judge presiding over Elon Musk's lawsuit against Media Matters, the left-leaning political watchdog group that has tracked the proliferation of hate speech on the platform since Musk's takeover, turns out that judge had been actively trading Tesla stock leading up to the start of the case, which is extremely sketchy, obviously. With more on this, here's NPR. A federal judge in Texas overseeing a high-profile lawsuit filed by billionaire Elon Musk against the watchdog group Media Matters was buying and selling stock in Musk's Tesla company in 2023, the year Musk filed the suit, according to financial disclosure reports recently made public. In August, NPR reported that U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor of the Northern District of Texas had made an investment in Tesla of between $15,001 and $50,000. O'Connor has delivered a string of decisions in the Media Matters lawsuit in favor of Musk, who argues the advocacy group disparaged X, his social media site.
That investment was revealed in a 2022 financial disclosure form required of all federal judges. But questions remained about whether the judge could have later sold his stock in Tesla, and if so, whether that happened before or after O'Connor accepted the Media Matters case in November 2023. While Tesla is not directly part of Musk's Media Matters suit, legal ethics experts called on O'Connor to recuse himself from the case, since the outcome of a lawsuit involving one of Musk's companies could, in turn, have an effect on the stock value of another part of his empire, including electric vehicle company Tesla, which represents the majority of his wealth. But a newly public financial disclosure form filed with the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts covering 2023's calendar year shows that O'Connor bought and sold Tesla stock that year, with his position in Tesla still totaling up to $50,000. All three transactions were made before November. O'Connor bought Tesla stock in January, sold some in June, and bought again in September. According to that filing, O'Connor did not make any Tesla transactions that year after taking the case in November. He has not bought or sold Tesla stock in the first few months of 2024, according to the most recent publicly available financial disclosures.
Totally normal.
Yeah, and I believe as well in the XTOS, it states that... Yeah.
It's not forced arbitration, but all conflicts need to be settled in this specific court in like northern Texas, which is not where X is headquartered, but it's where his pet judge lives.
Yes. The judge who may or may not have some financial exposure to one of Musk's other companies that might do a little bit better.
I feel like
if all these media companies were off his back.
There's got to be a judge somewhere in this country who isn't buying tens tens of thousands of Tesla shares just all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't find him.
Elusive.
This guy will have to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Blue Sky's doing great. They added another 1.5 million users
Yeah.
just today.
It's a great platform. It's an exact
No
clone
bookmarking.
that sucks, but it's an exact clone of Twitter. It's got video and GIFs.
It's better than Twitter in a lot of ways. I was peeking around on there today after months of not checking, and the custom feeds is great. So there's like...
I got my news feed, my sports feed, my art feed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is actually fucking useful.
Yeah.
Has utility. And so, of course, it's something that you would never, ever see on Elon's platform, where the only incentive he has is to show you as many blue check dipshits as possible.
That's right. Follow us on Blue Sky. You'll find us. I'll put links in the description below. Anyways, that's it for today's show. We will be back for some weird news very shortly. But in the meantime, make sure you like the video.
Please.
Make sure you're subscribed. Talk about anything that we discussed today down in the comments below. It's like a whole forum down there. You can talk about anything we talked about.
You can.
Or whatever you want, I guess.
Get off Twitter and get in the comments section.
That's right. Our comments section is your replacement for social media.
Just whatever you were planning on tweeting, put
Yeah.
it down there instead.
Yeah, there you go. Also, we have 2 new episodes for you over here. We got robots being hacked and yelling slurs. And we also have some coverage from earlier in the week about his DJ Trump, which, ironically, his initials, Donald J.
Oh, yeah.
DJ Trump on the 1s and 2s, dancing it out to his favorite playlist. Check those out, and we'll see you soon for some weird news.
Bye-bye.